say good day. How you going? What do you know? Don't strike a light. Good day, good day. And how you going? Just say good day, good day, good day, and you'll be right.
Now we come to the portion of the service before we do our Bible study that we address some end times news and trends that are happening around the world as it relates to Bible prophecy. We continue to see the escalation of what's taken place in Syria, the Middle East, and also, of course, North Korea on recent situations that have been developing. Early hours in Thursday morning, a missile hit a weapons depot reported to hold missiles destined for transfer to Hezbollah to Lebanon. Hezbollah in Lebanon. Hezbollah is a staunch ally of the Syrian President Bashar Assad. And then also, not too long after that, the Israeli Patriot missile also shot down a Syrian drone on Thursday, just hours after there was the report of the attack on the airport. So more and more development and things heating up in Syria, even though most of the mainstream media is not reporting some of these developments and what's happening. We also see just the pieces of the puzzle of Psalm 83 and Ezekiel 38 coming closer and closer together, and also Isaiah 17 with the destruction of Damascus. So it's just becoming closer and closer to seeing that fulfilled. On another issue in dealing with Israel, out of Ynet News, U.S. Senate unanimously warns the UN to stop targeting Israel. There was this letter that was signed by 100 of the U.S. senators to the UN Secretary General. He told the UN bodies, including the Human Rights Council, to devote time to unwarranted attacks against Israel. Senators would also urge the body to comply with the expectations to reform, to stamp out the habitual Israel bashing, reminding them that the U.S. Is the UN's main financial contributor. But we're seeing more and more taking place, nations going against Israel, and you also see more and more attacks from the UN against Israel, and not really getting all the facts from what is really happening with the Palestinians, Hezbollah, and Hamas attacking Israel. But Israel will get blamed for all those attacks. Within this letter, all U.S. senators signed this letter and sent to the Secretary General on Thursday, urging him to act against the discrimination against Israel in the United Nations. The letter also contained warning that the United Nations better change the habitual discrimination against Israel, reminding the Secretary General that, again, the U.S. is the main financial contributor, and it's not afraid to act against it. The letter went on to say the U.S. expects to see a change in the world form, in its institutions and its treatment against Israel. The letter also reaffirmed the U.S. commitment to the international leadership and the advancing respect of human rights, but unequivocally condemned what is described the continued targeting of Israel. But this is something we're going to continue to see, even though they might make the statement, the world is going to go against Israel. At some point, the U.S. will go against Israel, and that's what happened under the last 8 years under the Obama administration. They had a hatred toward Israel, but now you have a current administration that loves Israel. In fact, next month, President Trump will be going to Israel, and which is one of the first times seeing a president going there in a long time. Again, Obama did go for the funeral, but to have the love for the Israeli people, and also to push the U.S. Embassy to Jerusalem, which is the eternal capital. On another issue in dealing with Israel, but is dealing with North Korea, this report came out of Israeli National News, how Israel will receive a merciless 1,000-fold punishment. North Korea Defense Minister on Saturday reacted to Israeli Defense Minister Lieberman in a statement that he called Kim Jong-il a madman, threatening to punish Israel 1,000-fold because he called him a madman. In his interview, Lieberman said that the madman from North Korea is President Assad's closest friend, and he's also friends with the Iranians. There is a pact of evil there from North Korea through Iran to Syria and Hezbollah. These people, and the entire purpose is to undermine the stability of the entire world. It's an extremist and insane group. And so Lieberman also goes on to say that any nuclear disaster in any part of the world will influence the entire world. So we need to understand there's no such thing as regional limited nuclear disaster. In response to that statement, North Korea said the irresponsible marks of Israeli defense minister are sordid and malicious behavior and present a grave challenge to North Korea. This is a cynical ploy to escape international condemnation for preventing peace in the Middle East, occupying its Arab territories, and committing crimes against humanity, according to the North Korean spokesman. Access to nuclear power is a justified need, right to need for self-defense in order to cope with U.S. provocation moves and aggression. Who's the one that's being aggressive? Who's the one launching missiles and all over the area there? Instead of the will of the people of North Korea will mete out mercilessly thousandfold punishment for whoever dares to hate the dignity of their supreme leader. So just by calling him a madman, you're going to deserve a thousandfold punishment. And again, as we saw just the other day, how North Korea tested another ballistic missile that failed. And there was a report by another site that talked about how Russia could have been the one to shoot that one down. But we do see more and more reporting how, and this one came out of the Ynet News, how U.S. warns of possible conflict with North Korea. So again, they're trying to do all the diplomatic measures as possible, but you see a rogue nation that he's launching these missiles, ballistic missiles, and at some point is going to cause damage upon the other countries surrounding North Korea. But either way, the situation is getting more intense each and every passing day. On a technological issue, this came out of Reuters, the Cashless Society getting closer, according to survey. More than a third of the Europeans and the U.S. would be happy to go without cash and rely on electronic forms of payment. And this is how we're seeing here in Australia. They want to go cashless in the next 4 years, or almost 3 years now, by the time they want to be a cashless society here. It's easy to hey, it makes sense. I hate carrying cash around. It's easy to just have an electronic payment. But what this will eventually do, it will set up for the eventual mark of the beast, where you can't buy or sell unless you have that mark. And this is going to be during the tribulation period. But you can see the technology and everything's getting closer and closer to this period of time. But it does make sense for a lot of reasons. And again, when you go cashless, you have a lot more governmental, where they're checking into what's going on and what you're spending and all those sort of things. On an apostate issue, Pope Francis arrives in Cairo to seek amends ties with Islam, according to the Reuters website. Pope Francis arrived on Friday hoping to mend ties with Muslim leaders as Egypt's ancient Christian community faces unprecedented pressures from the Islamic State militants who have threatened to wipe it out. And in an address to the Egyptian people earlier the week, Francis said that he hoped that his visit would bring peace and encourage dialogue and reconciliation with the Islamic world. It also comes at a painful time with Egypt's Coptic Christians in the largest Christian community in the Middle East there, where 3 weeks after the Islamic State suicide bombers killed 45 people within twin church bombings. You can't reconcile with people that want to destroy you. How's that going to work? Unless there's another compromise behind what Pope Francis is trying to push. And then lastly, out of Christianity Today, for the first time, Russia ranked among the worst violators of religious freedom. So there's this ongoing crackdown on religious minorities. Foreign missionaries and evangelists have earned a spot amongst the worst countries in the world for religious freedom. So within this survey that was done in the 20 years of assessing all these different countries, as we mentioned, the worst country in the world for persecution is North Korea. And then you see Iran and a bunch of the other Arab Muslim nations listed there. But now Russia is going to be up there within a certain list of the persecution and also the religious freedom. But it's a reminder for us to be praying for our brothers and sisters in these countries. that God would use them to spread the gospel, that God would give them wisdom and grace and strength to endure these difficult times and trials that they face on a daily basis, something that we haven't faced here in Australia, but it's just a matter of time for that to occur. So we need to be praying for them. Amen? And that concludes today's update.